Amy, so all kinds of day two or day 2.5 stories surrounding the Hillary Clinton medical episode on Sunday, in addition to the cancellation of her schedule. Bill Clinton will surrogate for her on the West Coast at these fundraisers to do push-ups on Ellen's show.
Yes, I'm going to watch, so you don't have to. Okay,
Thank you.
It's going to be today.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Announcement that they will disclose more healthcare records. The Clinton campaign will. Trump said the same thing after a recent physical before the week is out. And also fun stories like suppositions about Hillary Clinton's body double.
Yeah.
And I don't mean in the Brian De Palma body double, the movie kind of sense where Melanie Griffith was the body double. We don't have something that interesting going on here.
No, but a lot of people thought her body double. There's an actress apparently in California who looks exactly like her. That the body double
Joy
was,
Behar.
Yeah, right, exactly. That the body double was inside Chelsea's apartment and then came out and waved to the crowd and said she was fine. And then others think the body double was the person who fell and stumbled and couldn't get into the van.
And others think that she's hiding in a spider hole like Saddam Hussein while the body doubles run around providing misdirection plays. But we're not going to do conspiracy theories here. It's just fun. And we will take your body double jokes all morning, 312-642-5600. But one of the other matters that's a real political problem potentially for Hillary are these stories, including propagated by Cokie Roberts, that there is talk, back channel talk with Democrat operatives, with a former DNC chair about contingency planning in case there is a need to replace Hillary Clinton as the Democrat Party nominee, something I can't fathom will happen. I think she is like the Black Knight, that she will crawl to the finish line as needed. But there is that scuttlebutt out there, and that can't be helpful to trying to tamp down this issue and refocus the campaign on Trump, which is, of course, what she wants to do. Well, for more on this and an update where things stand, we're now happy to be joined by Rick Leventhal, senior correspondent for Fox News Channel and the reporter who broke the medical episode story on Sunday. Rick, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. My body double was not available. So.
Yeah, and who is your body double?
Yeah.
Just so we know.
I can't disclose that.
Of course, yes. I'm sure.
Who's your body double, Dan?
Ryan Lochte.
Oh.
So you will not be able to tell on Dancing with the Stars whether it's me or Ryan Lochte during his appearance. Uh-huh. So you know some of the storylines that have now come from the story that you broke and that everybody's talking about since Sunday. Which are the most interesting to you? Which do you think have kind of the most air underneath them?
Well, I think that what is most important to voters is whether or not Hillary is fit to serve as president of the United States. And I think what we saw on Sunday morning was supportive of the counter argument that she's not. And, Donald Trump and his supporters have been saying for some time that they had questions about Hillary's health, and her campaign had dismissed those concerns or downplayed them. And now all of a sudden they got caught trying to downplay something that was clearly bigger than they said it was initially.
Well, I want to go back to Sunday morning and the logistics of how this happened. I know she was there for 90 minutes. Did you see her sneak out of the ceremony, and how were you made aware of this video of her falling down?
Well, I was actually a few blocks south of the World Trade Center site, because that's where they put the media's live positions for our coverage of the 9/11 ceremony and the anniversary. I was there on 9/11/2001, and I've been down there every year since to be there for these ceremonies that honor the lives lost. So when we were down there doing our live shots for the news of the day coverage, the pool that follows Hillary Clinton was put in a press pen behind barricades in an area away from where she was. So when she left the VIP area, the area where she was standing at the memorial, because apparently she wasn't feeling well, she left that area. The pool reporters didn't even know it. Mm-hmm. They didn't see her leave, and I wasn't there to see her. But fortunately, I have a very good friend, a law enforcement officer, who was 15 feet away from the curb when she walked up and was waiting for her motorcade. So he saw her walk up. He was surprised to see her because she wasn't scheduled to leave for another hour or so. The ceremony had another 3 hours left. So he looked at his buddies. He's like, "Why is she here?" And they kind of shrugged him off. But he could tell. He told me that she didn't look well. And so it was 2 or 3 minutes before her motorcade came up because they weren't expecting her to leave at that time. And when she, as you now see in the video, stepped off the curb, she clearly stumbled. He told me he thought she fainted. She had to be helped into the vehicle. If you watch that video, you'll know that it appears that she would have fallen to the ground if those members of her protective detail hadn't been there to catch her. So as soon as her van left, her motorcade left, he called me and gave me the details of what he had seen, and I trusted him because I know him very well, and he is a high-ranking officer, and I trusted him, so I went with him.
I'm kind of obsessed with this one aspect of what we saw in that video, and that's this apparent piece of metal that fell as she fell and was caught by Secret Service, and what exactly that was. Do we have any information on that item?
Yeah, Dan, here's what I can tell you about that. My guy was right there, and when she got in the van, one of her shoes fell off, and he was among those who went over there, and may or may not have been the guy who picked up her shoe off the ground and handed it to other members of her protective detail who were in those follow-on vehicles. They jumped in the other cars to take off after her and brought her shoe. He also told me that he picked up the arm of a pair of sunglasses. And whether it was the arm from her sunglasses or someone else's sunglasses in her detail, he didn't know. But he knew that he saw exactly what it was, a pair of sunglasses, an arm from a pair of sunglasses, that he picked up off the ground as well. Now, there is, and I've watched the video numerous times, and there is a noise. It sounds almost like a clanking noise that people have seized on and said, "What is that? There's no way that an arm of the sunglasses would make that kind of noise. What, fell out of her pants?" Like, there's all these conspiracy theories about that. All I can tell you is I asked my guy, and he told me he didn't hear that noise. He didn't see any other pieces of metal on the ground. That noise could have happened off camera, and you just hear it because there's things, you're seeing what the camera's seeing, but you may not actually see what's making that noise.
Okay, that's interesting.
What he found on the ground was a shoe and the arm of a pair of sunglasses.
Okay, that's great. That's good to know.
So knowing all this information, then hearing Hillary Clinton on CNN last night saying that, I never lost consciousness, and once I got in the air-conditioned van and had some water, I was fine. Then I went to see my grandkids because it's the best medicine that you can have when you're sick is, hanging out with your grandkids and a newborn. I know. But do you believe anything now that is coming out of her mouth?
Well, I don't want to get too political here.
Oh, that's right. You would keep your job.
I just, there's been a lot of stuff that's been said that doesn't pass the smell test. And again, if you watch the video, and what my buddy told me, who was 15 feet away from her, she did not look good. And in the video, it appears that she is ready to pass out. And that they first said she was overheated. Then we find out hours later that there was pneumonia. If she was fainting from pneumonia, I've had doctors tell me she should be in the hospital on an IV. And she shouldn't be up and about 90 minutes later waving and telling people it's a beautiful day. That's not how you treat pneumonia and fainting. This is what I was told, and I don't know. But I'll tell you this. What I think is important is that had my buddy not called me and told me what happened, and had I not reported it, the Clinton camp likely would have never been pressured by everyone else to find out why she left early to the degree that they were. And the Clinton camp could have gotten away with just saying she felt overheated. We would never have known the rest of the story because they would have just brushed it off. And there would have been no pressure on them because all we would have had would have been a video on the Internet, which they could have just said, "Oh, well, she left early because she wanted to go see her daughter or whatever, and she stumbled off the curb." And we wouldn't have had the corroboration from a law enforcement officer at the scene who witnessed the whole thing. And I think it's interesting that they were kind of forced to come clean, and they didn't for 90 minutes, and then they didn't give the full story for another few hours.
Well, I think that's exactly right, and the evidence to support the contention you just made comes from all over the D.C. press corps, including Kate Snow at MSNBC, who pressured Robbie Mook about when he was apprised of her diagnosis of pneumonia, where they were for 90 minutes, where they kept the press in the dark, and they kind of gave a sort of mea culpa criticisms from David Axelrod and others on the left because they did get caught and because it does look so bad. And the reason it looks so bad is because it was purposeful obfuscation that they thought they were going to get away with. I mean, this is not a conservative or Republican opinion. This is an opinion that's shared almost unanimously.
Well, you would kind of expect transparency, and I'm not saying that Donald Trump is the most transparent either. And there have been arguments made to me that, as far as medical records are concerned, when you go to get a life insurance policy, you can't just say, "Oh, my doctor says I'm fine." Give them your doctor.
Right.
They send an independent physician to check you out and take your blood and do all of that. So if you can't get a life insurance policy without having someone outside of your health circle come in, why can you run for president and just give people like, "This is what my guy says, so I'm fine," when people are trusting to put you in the White House? Maybe we should have independent physicians examine presidential candidates and give independent analysis of their health, and both candidates, every candidate. I don't know. This is just an argument that's been made to me that seems to make sense.
Well, or at least have candidates hold themselves to the standard that McCain, that Bob Dole, that Bill Clinton held themselves to when they ran for president. If full disclosure is a fairly simple standard to abide if you want to, and Hillary certainly doesn't seem to want to, and Trump, as you say, with some respects as well, has not either. Rick Leventhal, senior correspondent for Fox News Channel. Rick, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Keep up the good work.
Thanks for having me on this morning, guys.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.